I understand it's a business. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, okay. So when I get on that stage and I come at you, you better not duck me, son. You better not duck me, son. I'm telling you.
Get that money off, homie. Get that money.
Hey, that's what we're doing, baby. That's what we're doing. This is the third appearance, baby. You know the game. And I'm coming for you. I am coming for you. I will come here to Brooklyn and strip you of your title, son. Easy breezy, baby.
Obviously, Keith Thurman told Errol Spence that you either leave the division or you face me. There's no place for two champions or two warriors in one division. Now, Errol Spence simply laughed at Keith Thurman comments. He didn't even take him seriously. Keith Thurman saying, "Don't duck me, son.
You better not duck me, son."
That's the energy he's bringing to the table. Funny how roles are reversed. See, we still have the same Errol Spence. Errol Spence is still keeping the same energy. He ain't changing. Keith Thurman, after he took his first loss, he changed his energy. Every time he used to speak, it was all smoke and mirrors. But now all of a sudden, when the O went out of the window, he could care less who he fights. I find it ironic that Keith Thurman always spoke in hypotheticals, always said, hey, listen, man, the Errol Spence fight is going to be 2 years from now. That's what he said in 2015. Then 2017 came. He said it's going to happen 2019. Then 2019 came. He said it's going to happen 220, 221. And he ain't even sure if it's going to happen then. It was like, what? Are you serious? But now all of a sudden, during the pandemic, during the Rona, he wants to fight at all costs. I find that ironic because, like I said, when the fight was hyped up the most, when fans really wanted to see the fight, we were starving for that fight. We were slavering for the fight. It was the best fight at the welterweight division to be made before even Terrence Crawford moved up to the division. Keith Thurman always spoke in hypotheticals. It was all smoke and mirrors. But now all of a sudden, during the pandemic, when there is no money, after he took a L coming off a loss, now he want the Errol Spence fight right away. Man, you ain't fooling me. With all the respect to Keith Thurman, I like Keith Thurman. But he had a different tone and a different energy just last year than he did today. When he had his O, than when he lost his O today. So that's why Errol Spence is not taking him too seriously. And on Twitter, he simply threw the laughing emoji up there and just said, laugh my ass off. Because Keith Thurman was treating Errol Spence like that was his Manny Pacquiao ticket, right? Keith Thurman always wanted to be like Mayweather. He always wanted to keep his O. He wanted to be a legend in the game. He wanted to be the villain. He always brag and boast. And he had that attitude, you know, I walk it like I talk it. But when the time came, when Errol Spence first showed up, he changed his energy. Errol Spence made Keith Thurman change his whole demeanor. You know what I mean? So all I'm pretty much saying is you can't be a Mayweather or try to copy the Floyd Mayweather blueprint. However, in order to be a Floyd Mayweather in the game, you have to do what Floyd Mayweather did. A lot of people forget that Floyd Mayweather kicked ass for a whole decade. A lot of people forget that Floyd Mayweather on his Pretty Boy stage was the most feared. You know, Floyd Mayweather was as feared as Iron Mike, right? He was the most feared around the time he was Pretty Boy. He's as feared as Akhi on split decision, knocking out all these decafs that don't even have the cojones to call in. So what I'm pretty much saying is you can't be Mayweather if you're not willing to do what Mayweather did for 10 years. For a whole decade, he was kicking ass, moved up to 135 after cleaning the 130-pound division. Cleaned up the 135-pound division. He beat Gotti. Obviously, he wasn't the best 140-pounder, but he couldn't fight Ricky Hatton, the best light welterweight at the time. Then he moved up to welterweight, right? Eventually, he fought Ricky Hatton, the best 140-pounder at the time, and knocked him out. So what I'm pretty much saying, in order to be Mayweather and to become a superstar, you have to put in that work. You have to put in that work, especially if you're a fighter on the coincidentalist. They're not going to hand it to you. You have to get it out of the mud, right? So Keith Thurman, he tried to copy the Floyd Mayweather blueprint or greenprint. However, he wasn't willing to do the same work and put in the same work. Keith always mentioned, hey man, you know, well, Errol Spence fight is not going to happen yet. Just like Floyd Mayweather, it took him 5 years to fight Manny Pacquiao. He always brought that point up. And it was like, really? First of all, that was money made. Second of all, Floyd Mayweather did want to fight Manny Pacquiao in 2009. It was Manny Pacquiao who turned down the fight. Floyd Mayweather did try to fight Manny Pacquiao in 2012. Manny Pacquiao turned down the fight, and Freddie Roach admitted it was their fault. Freddie Roach admitted that it wasn't Floyd Mayweather's fault. It was our fault. We should have took the fight. We shouldn't have blamed it on the needle and turned down a VADA test, right? So all I'm pretty much saying is Floyd Mayweather eventually fought Manny Pacquiao 5 years later because of Manny Pacquiao. Nevertheless, he fought Manny Pacquiao, right? However, Errol Spence, before he took his first loss, it was 5 years since Errol Spence been calling him out. And he haven't even negotiated with Errol Spence, not even once. See, Floyd Mayweather negotiated with Manny Pacquiao multiple times and negotiation failed. But Keith Thurman didn't even negotiate with Errol Spence. He dragged it so long till the rope cut because Manny Pacquiao cut that shit. my language. But what I'm pretty much saying is you can't be calling out Errol Spence now after you lost to Manny Pacquiao. Errol Spence is not going to take you seriously. The fans is not going to take you seriously. You have to get wins under your banner before calling out Errol Spence because it's long overdue and tables turn. Like Errol Spence always loved to say, I was the boogeyman, according to Errol. Now I'm the money man. Now I'm the cash cow. Right? So that's why they gunning for him. It ain't because they could beat him. It's because money talk, bullshit walk. Now, Keith Thurman said, or brought up the point, I defeated Sean Porter in a better fashion. What does that mean? First of all, no, you didn't. Because Keith Thurman beat Sean Porter 7-5. I agree with that scorecard. I had Keith Thurman clearly winning the fight, right? Nevertheless, it was a tough fight. But you can't convince me that Errol Spence wasn't more dominant. Errol Spence was way more dominant than Keith Thurman. He landed way more punches than Keith Thurman did on Sean Porter. So what are we talking about? Because Errol Spence even dropped Sean Porter, something that one time wasn't capable of doing. Keith, like Errol Spence said, it ain't no longer one time, it's no time, it's zero time because that O went out of the window. Now, I respect Keith. I like Keith as a fighter, but again, I'm going to speak the truth when I'm on the mic. I'm not going to sugarcoat it just because I like Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman has to do better. I would like for Terrence Crawford to send him an offer because Terrence can get a big name, so that's a good name to get on his resume. But Errol Spence got fights lined up. I would love to see the Keith Thurman fight eventually, but let's see Keith Thurman prove himself, especially after losing to Pacquiao. I mean, you told Pacquiao you could eat from that forbidden fruit. I warned you, Keith. I told you don't allow it to happen. You said absolutely not. He could take whatever he want to take. It don't matter. I'm knocking him out. This is the resurrection. I was like, man, all right, back it up because you don't know what's coming. And after I knew that there wasn't no VADA testing, I picked Manny Pacquiao to win the fight. You all could check. I got my receipts. I got my videos, right? And what Manny Pacquiao did, dropping him in the first round. Beat him, embarrass him at 40 years old because he's a youngin. All that talk, but couldn't walk the walk, you know. And it's funny when Keith always tried to take shots at Floyd in the past, but Floyd Mayweather beat Manny Pacquiao 5 years before that, when Manny was even more so in his prime. So all I'm saying is, for Keith to get taken serious in the sport of boxing, when he calls out the best like Keith, like Errol Spence, and many more, he has to get a win or two under his banner before he does so. Now, don't get me wrong. Like I said, I love Keith Thurman, but I'm going to call a spade, man. And in order for him to prove that he a two-time, three-time, he's going to have to come back and do it again and earn his stripes. Because Errol Spence said, listen, I wanted this fight more than I wanted to breathe. He didn't want to give me my opportunity. Now, when he's down and I'm up, he won an opportunity. I believe Errol Spence will eventually give him the opportunity. Keith Thurman just have to put himself in position to get it. Errol Spence still keeping the same energy. Errol Spence still the same man. He still carry himself the same way. He's still the truth. So Errol never changed. Errol's still calling out the best. Post his car crash, after his car crash, he's still having the same energy. He's still calling out the best, from Terrence Crawford to Manny Pacquiao to Danny Garcia, and you name it, at the welterweight division. So nothing but respect to both. But at the end of the day, or at least tonight, I'm gonna call a spade a spade. So let me read a couple comments in the chat box. RJ said Keith Thurman versus Ugas. I would love to see that fight. If I do see that fight, they could fight for the WBA title, and that way he could earn his stripes back. If he beat an Ugas, oh man, I would love to see him versus Errol Spence then, right? Yeah, that's a great point, Logan. Thurman still whooped Porter and Danny, but he didn't fight Errol Spence. So yeah, you beat them, but you didn't fight Errol Spence. Like, he really didn't want to fight Errol Spence. He wanted no part of Errol Spence. And even Terrence Crawford, he always questioned Terrence Crawford's resume. Remember that? Remember him wanting to welcome Danny Garcia to the welterweight division because he thought he was sweet after the Herrera fight? But when it was Crawford, he was like, oh, what did Crawford do? Oh, who have he fought? He need to fight Amir Khan. He need to fight Jeff Horn. And it was like, really? And then he fought both. And he was like, you need to fight Kell Brook. I was like, man, are you his manager, bro? So I get it. But at the end of the day, Keith had different energy for Crawford and Errol Spence. And you can't tell me otherwise. You know what I'm saying? So Shahil said Manny is way more dangerous than Errol Spence. Yeah, whatever. You could say that, but Manny got called by Errol Spence after he fought Akhi Garcia in front of 47,000 fans in Cowboy. And he told Manny Pacquiao, come over here. Come over here, Pac-Man. And Pacquiao didn't want to play no games. I mean, Errol Spence on Twitter, he's still playing the Pac-Man game to this day. He's still playing the Pac-Man game to this day. And you talking about Manny Pacquiao more dangerous than Errol, man? Stop. So on to the next round. Split Decision episode 44 is over with. Subscribe below if you're trying to get smart about a minute. If you're trying to get dumb about a second, don't. And listen to these decaf, aka dumb casual ass fans that don't know ish about boxing. Word to Roger Mayweather. May he rest in peace, inshallah. And like I always say, 3 things that can never ever be hidden: the sun, the moon, and the truth that I spit on the mic daily. Everything that I say could be proven. Everything that I say is a fact. When the facts are laid out, they trump opinions. When the truth is spoken, the other side is nothing but a lie. So, to all the decafs, I have the decaf's kryptonite, which is the truth. Every time they hear the truth, they act like they can't hear. They act like they don't speak any English. Every time they see the truth right in front of their face, the hard evidence, mountain of evidence, they act like they Stevie Wonders.
I bear witness, there's only one God, Allah, and Muhammad is his final messenger. That's what I said, Larry, on the Bungle fight. Thanking you.
They call me the problem, but you could call me the can man, because anybody can get it. Africans, Americans, Dominicans, Mexicans, anybody can get it.